So just finished my session. We're 16 weeks out from my competition, and Adonis has taken me and Ollie through some posing routines.
Hi, I'm Adonis. I'm going to take them through some posing. We're just going to start with the basics today, go through quarter turns and make sure that they're happy with each of the individual poses before we start compiling an actual routine together. What we will start with is just some of the basics. We'll go through hand position, body position, and the actual quarter turns themselves. What I'll be doing is demonstrating them first, explaining as I demonstrate, and then getting the guys to come in and do the pose themselves. So what we're going to do is just focus. The most important thing is hand placement, okay? So your hands want to be open. You never want to do any closed-fisted movements. This isn't bodybuilding, it is a modeling category. So we want nice, relaxed faces, relaxed hands. You want to be smiling the whole time through. Okay, you'll see a lot of bodybuilders as tense as possible, grimacing as much as possible. For them, it is purely about their size and their physique. Okay, so we'll start the standard front pose. Okay, as we come forward, is going to be one hand on the hip. Okay, the other hand out to the side, and we're going to keep the leg nice and outstretched. Now there are lots of variations of this that you will see. Okay, we'll just start with basics. We can tweak it depending on your physique at the time, and as we go along through the weeks, we're going to make it better as we go. Okay, so the most natural one, okay, you want to keep your hips towards the judges. All right, lats open wide, one hand on the hip, again, nice and relaxed hand, still tensing through the arm. The other hand relaxed down beside you, trying to draw out that lat, bring in the arm, okay, as much as possible, and again, relaxed hand. Here, we're trying to broaden the shoulders, slim down the waist. So if you do have to turn the waist ever so slightly away, keeping that leg out nice and wide, creates that wide image that then narrows towards the waist and then opens out towards the shoulders again. Okay, so that's what we're trying to create. So that front pose, again, as we do it, we're going to smile, breathe through your teeth and breathe out as much air as possible. So then you really tense and bring in as much definition as you can. Okay, so it's going to be a nice step through. You're going to walk in, step out, hand on your hip, and bringing it in as much as possible, smiling and looking down towards where the judges are going to be. They're going to be much lower than the stage, so you're going to always want to be looking down and out towards the audience. Okay, use the mirror to tweak it, try and see what position brings in the best image and brings in that center section, brings out the shoulders. All right, so as we go through, just play around with it first. Okay, get comfortable with where feels the best. All right, once you find that position, hold it, breathe out, smile, and relax. Okay, about that position apart. Whichever hand you feel more comfortable with, put that on your hip. Okay, whichever hand is on your hip, that leg you want to bring out to the side. Okay, so you want to bring it out quite wide. Okay, try not to turn your hips too much. You want your hips reasonably square. Okay, about there is going to be fine. Let's try and bring these arms in. Okay, rotate the hand out slightly and just keep it nice and relaxed. All right, so we want to keep your shoulders level, draw out your lats, open out your lats, open out, open out, open out, open out. There we go, okay? Same with you, Ollie, just open out those lats, really open out, okay? Now, on 3, what we're gonna do, breathe out everything and tense with as much as you can, okay? So, 1, 2, 3. That's it, good, 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 good. Squeeze it in, squeeze it in, squeeze it in. And relax, okay?
Fucking dying.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's hard, okay? It is hard to breathe out, have no air in you, smile, tense, but look relaxed at the same time, okay? Cool.
Felt like on one side I was contracted and the other side is like...
Yeah, so that's where you're gonna have to, and that's why I said play with it. You might find that with that leg, if it's too far out, that you're struggling to contract on your opposite side, because you might find you're crunching down. So I say use the mirrors, level out those shoulders, keep it in as much of a central line as possible, okay? So really tense it through. If you find that you're squeezing on one side than the other, look in the mirror. You might be leaning slightly, okay? So just try and level it out. There are 2 variations depending on what competition you're with. The open hand double bicep and the oblique double hand over the head and bringing in the obliques, okay? With PCA, okay, I don't know whether you're going to compete in PCA. Obviously Lloyd definitely is. We're already booked in for it. So it's going to be hands overhead, okay? I was always taught that if you actually almost interlock your fingers over the top, you won't see it at the back, but if your hands are together this way, you're actually going to tense better. So you can come up, bring them in, and keep them just behind the head, okay? With this front foot, back foot towards it, because of this type of pose, you really want to emphasize the obliques, okay? That's what we're trying to pull out with this pose. It is mainly for your obliques. So with this, turning your hips away and turning your shoulders towards it is going to pull in those obliques as much as possible, really bring in this line, okay? Shoulders out, hands overhead, sorry. Keeping those lats nice and spread, okay? Biceps nice and tight, and again, smiling and breathing out through, okay? So it's going to be that same pose, and when we do the side poses, you're going to be doing both sides anyway. They're going to see your obliques with those side poses. So with this front one, turn those hips to, we always have one side that your obliques will stand out more than the others, or just one foot that...
This one's like more chiseled there. The other one looks more like straight.
For you, right foot forward, right hip pointing that way. For you, Ollie. Try the other side. Arms up overhead. Okay, bring them down. That's it. So get those elbows nice and high. Okay, lats spread. Hips turned ever so slightly, turn the shoulders more. There, okay. Try not to twist it too much. Same, turn your hips. Hips turn, turn. Bring the upper body. Okay, so all the weight on the back foot. So weight on your back foot. There we go. Now pull it in. Okay, try not to tilt your hips too much. You're trying not to push up. Keep it nice and open. On 3, 2, 1. Breathe it out. You should almost hit. You should hear it. That's it. Good. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. Keep squeezing. Keep squeezing. Keep squeezing. 3, 2, 1. Relax.
Kept feeling myself like pull down.
And it's very tempting. Okay, you will just get used to it.
Honestly,
this is why it's so much hard work on stage, and it feels like a workout when you've been on stage. You're up there for probably 15-20 minutes of hard work.
I definitely prefer this side in the mirror, but that side,
your obliques show up more. Okay.
Definitely felt I tensed that side harder. But in the mirror, I don't know, maybe
you might find that you're tensing harder because you might crunch down on that side, okay? We're all used to tensing our abs by really crunching down, pulling them in as much as possible. We're trying to stay as open as possible and still pull it through, okay? It's just gonna take those small few tweaks. The side poses are a little bit more awkward. You're gonna have one side that is better than the other, okay? One side that feels way more comfortable than the other. We'll just have to play around small tweaks to see which position is going to bring out the right muscles. Okay, so side position, we're going to stand side on to the mirror. You're going to have one foot behind you slightly. Okay, it's not going to be too far out. You'll see a lot of people spread right out. Okay, we don't want to try and create too much of a wide image. We don't want to take up too much space. What you'll do is you'll stretch everything out. It'll create an arch in your back and it'll be much harder to bring it all through. Okay, so it's a slight step back. We can keep those hips nice and forward. Turn those shoulders towards the judges, okay? Create, again, that image of the small waist, broad shoulders. All right, make sense? So you're gonna have to play around with what's gonna be best. What I found for myself was back leg behind me was a lot better. It stopped me from turning my hips more towards the judges. That front foot was back. What I found was as soon as I turned my shoulders, my hips turned with it, and it was more of a front pose, okay? With that back foot behind me, what I was able to do, front hand on your hip, okay? You're going to turn those shoulders towards the judges, okay? Keeping that hand quite low. What you don't want is it too high. You don't want it to hide your obliques. You don't want it to hide your hip, okay? Any of this definition, that's what you want to make sure is being seen, okay? So shoulder back, nice and open, okay? This hand here, out to the side, again, trying to bring this shoulder forward, lats out, and nice and relaxed hand, okay? The whole time, this arm is still going to be tense, even though the hand is going to look nice and relaxed, okay? So you're going to have it here, it's going to be a nice turn, squeeze, try and keep those shoulders nice and level, okay? Squeeze, pull through, and same thing, all right? Yourself, yeah, this shoulder is quite bunched up, okay? Want to open it out more, there we go. create a drop the shoulder
abs.
slightly. There you go. Okay, relax, 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 relax. A little bit tense your arm. Tense your arm there. Okay, right. What I'm going to do is just bring this one up slightly to bring in your lats. All right, we're going to relax this hand slightly. 2 fingers there. Okay, just nice and relaxed. There we go. Don't close in. Okay, you're very tempting to close into here. I want you to make sure that we open out, keep those lats open, and try not to hunch down. Okay, bring those shoulder blades back together. There we go. Okay, so you're nice and open. You're tensing your lats and close in here. Get those hips nice and forward. Bring this foot ever so slightly further back. Like that. Okay, so hands open. We're gonna, on 3, do the same again. We're gonna tense and breathe out. So 1, 2, 3, breathe it out. There we go, that's better. Bring it out. Drop, turn. Still tense, stay tense the whole time through. Keep smiling, keep smiling, keep smiling. That's it. Keep tense, 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 tense. And relax.
Now the other side's out. My fucking calf as well. Calf's fucking cramping.
So there's going to be a few things that obviously one's going to be better at than others. Okay, the advantage you have, broad shoulders. Okay, once you start losing that body fat, your waist is going to come in really nicely because of the broad shoulders, and the bigger arms are going to really be that feature piece. That's where you want to make sure keep as open as possible up at the top.
As I was tense, I was literally just
Yeah, and it's because we're so used to doing the weights and stuff where when you tense, everything closes up, it all tightens up. We want to avoid that, open up and still tense. All right, the advantage you've got is that smaller waist and that V taper is there really well. So now it's just creating that definition for you, broadening out those shoulders, giving you those really rounded delts and making it appear as wide as possible. Okay, Lloyd's got freakishly large arms, so for him it's much easier.
okay, every day.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what we want to enhance those features. Okay, so for you closing up, it's not showing your broad shoulders. You want to make sure that you're nice and open. Okay, and the same for you, Ollie, with your lats and the fact that you've got smaller waist and broad lats. Open out as much as you can. Okay, so that's what the eye is drawn to, that V taper. All right, so you always want to take the eye away from those weaker areas, we'll say, and drawn to the stronger areas. Okay, that's what we're trying to focus on.
So with that last one, are you trying to make your waist slim, or are you trying to make yourself bigger?
Because the smaller your waist is, the bigger your shoulders look. And if you've got big shoulders anyway, it's going to make them look even bigger. And it's going to create a massive V taper. If you've got the arms that balance the image out, it's going to look really good. So while we're doing the side poses, we will do the overhead side pose. All right, so same foot position, okay, same hip position. The only difference being you're not going to turn towards the judges too much, okay, because we're mainly focusing, this is all focused on the obliques. Okay, you want to draw them out as much as possible. So in bringing the arm up above the head, what it's going to do, serratus anterior is going to come in, lats are going to come in, you're going to really bring in those obliques because you're stretching everything up and down at the same time. Okay, so from this pose, we don't want to necessarily keep too much width, right? So don't worry about really trying to open out those lats. It's purely obliques, bring them in, squeeze them in as much as possible. Okay, this arm's going to still just create that depth in the delt and the biceps. All right, turning ever so slightly to really bring in the obliques as much as possible. And relax. Okay, it's going to be the same on either side. Same foot position, same hip position. Just get that arm overhead, really squeeze it down.
This one's back of your head,
okay.
This one's where?
Yeah, so your front hand, back of the head, back hand just to the side, nice and relaxed. Okay, nice and open hand. All right, trying to bring in your arm as much as possible. So some people will turn their arm away from them to create that depth in the bicep. Okay, some will bring it in to allow the delt and the tricep to do the work. Okay, again, it depends on your strengths and weaknesses.
So you do this
Right.
first, then.
What I'm going to say is just, that's it.
Oh,
Just open up that
flexibility.
little bit more, okay? So we're going to have to create a bit more mobility to allow you to open up that little bit more, okay? And then you're going to really tense, okay? Turn ever so slightly towards me, just a tiny bit, there, okay? Don't turn too much. So, that's it, relax the hands. Bring this in, I think your delt and your, so just delt and the bicep. Okay, for you, Lloyd, I think we need to bring in the bicep and the delt a little bit. Relax. Okay, right, on. 3, 2, 1. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. Breathe it out, breathe it out, breathe it out, breathe it out, breathe it out. Keep breathing, keep breathing, keep breathing. Go on. Every little bit of air. Really breathe it out as much as possible. That's it. Don't be tempted to crunch down too much. That's it. Get those, that's it. Get those obliques really cutting in there. If you find that you're getting this where it's crunching up too much, okay, there we go. Just open it up that little bit more. It means you're crunching down too much, okay? Creating a bit of a skin fold, that's what we want to avoid. Really tense, 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 and relax. All right.
Obliques to death.
We're going to do the same on the other side.
Fuck, I'm feeling hungry. 15 weeks. 16, anymore.
Hey, you've only just started today.
First day.
Okay, so hips facing each other, feet in the right place. Okay. Arms overhead. Sit. Make sure that elbow's not covering your face. All right. So turn ever so slightly towards judges. Really squeeze it in. Really squeeze it in. That's it. Don't touch too much.
Is this the elbow in line with it open?
Yeah. So you can open it, okay, to create then the thickness in the bicep, bring out the lat ever so slightly. But what there's tendency to do is turn too much, okay, and you'll crunch everything up. So you want to open up, okay. Just keep the elbow, depending on flexibility, the higher it is, the better, okay, because then you're still going to see the thickness in your bicep. So drop your hand lower. There we go. That's better.
That's a million times easier.
Yeah, okay. Well done, Ollie. Good. Just relax that. It's looking a little bit awkward. About there, okay? That's about right for you. You've got good thickness in the bicep anyway. Tense, tense, tense. Relax your hand and tense. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. Same with you, Ollie. That's it. Really squeeze. Should be as tense as possible. Relax your hand. You don't need to be cupping a dish, all right? On. 3, 2, 1. Breathe it out. Breathe out, breathe out, breathe out, breathe out, breathe out, breathe out, breathe out. Tense, 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 tense. Really squeeze. Come on, every last drop. Really take it out. Don't drop. Don't lift your hip too much. Good, nice. Come on, squeeze, 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 squeeze. And relax. How does that feel?
Terrible.
It's gonna get better, all right? This is the first time we're trying it. First time going through these poses, first time feeling that amount of tension with no air in you whatsoever and pulling everything in as tight as possible. It's the first time we do it. It's gonna feel awkward, it's gonna feel weird. You're gonna go home, try it and go, no, it just feels wrong, okay? The more you practice, the better it's gonna feel. So, back pose. You're gonna love this one purely for the fact your face means nothing. This is the time where everybody on stage will take the time to breathe, okay? If you were able to look across and down the line with everybody else, everybody's pulling the same face and going, fuck. Breathing it out because it's all about tensing the back, okay? You don't have to tense your abs, you don't have to worry anything about there. What we're focusing on is tension through the lower back, through your lats, traps, rear delts, biceps, okay? Again, 2 variations, okay? You've got the arms down by the side. You'll have some people do it double hand, like this, opening out, okay? Really drawing out those lats as much as possible. Some people will prefer to have their hands on their hips, some with one hand off. And each alteration is exactly the same, it's just where your hands are, okay? The other version, arms overhead, rear double bicep. The way we're doing it is elbows level with delts. Okay, if they're too high, what you'll see in the mirror is if I was to lift those arms, okay, the width of the lats comes in, okay, brings in the biceps quite nicely, but you lose that width. In bringing those arms down, you lose no definition in the traps, but you still create that width even more, okay, because you're able to open out. Okay, again, it's open hand, okay, nice and relaxed hands, just tensing the biceps. Hands nice, lats nice and wide. Okay, I want you to pretend like you're carrying 2 carpets under your arms. Really squeeze it out. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. Okay, I'm just going to make a few tweaks as we go along. Okay, like Lloyd, so I want you to open up here. Okay, one hand on your hip. Okay. Not to hunch up too much. Okay, really squeeze, 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 squeeze. Bring your shoulder blades back together slightly. There we go. Okay, so we can create this width, still bring in rear delts. Just gonna get you to do this. Cool.
Hit my lower
Ollie,
back.
we're gonna do this. There we go. Okay, just put your left hand on your hip. There we go. And now bring those shoulders back slightly. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Really want you to tighten up here as much as possible. Okay. This hand's looking a little bit awkward. Okay. So elbows still want to be wide. There we go. That's better, Lloyd. Good. Right, on 3, 2, 1. Squeeze, really squeeze. Don't worry about breathing out too much. Okay, we're just focusing on really squeeze your back. Try not to close up too much, Lloyd. Okay, we want to create that width in there as much as possible. That's it, Ollie, well done. Lloyd, widen out, open out those lats, open out, not back, open. There we go, so we want to widen this, wide, without rolling your shoulders forward.
Oh, my lower back.
Okay, so the depth
training program.
is good, but I think you're struggling with getting that muscle connection to opening out those lats. Whereas Ollie instantly goes like that.
Yeah.
This is what you want. Okay, you don't want to hunch over too much. If you hunch over, or what people tend to do, you get them to open up and they do this. Shoulders come up.
Yeah.
You're losing a lot there. Okay, it creates this awkward image. It should just naturally be wide. Okay, you've got good delts. Use them to create the width as well. Okay, open out the lats. Pull those shoulder blades together and stay nice and open. Okay, that is where you're going to get.
Always fine.
There we go. Okay, that's how you want it. Okay, open out more. Really open out. Don't round off.
Shoulders.
Yes, you can. You're trying to open out that way. Okay. There we go. That's it. That's better. Right. That pose. Right. Now, that is what you want to do. This foot back. Okay, further. Really stretch it back. Tiny bit more. Okay. Anterior tilt. You change your arms. Okay, there. Okay, this is where you're going to bring in your traps ever so slightly more, but you're still going to create this width, okay? That's what you want. Right. Don't be tempted to bring those arms back, okay? Everybody, well, most people do, okay? So what people tend to do is bring their arms up in front of them, okay? Which 90% of the people on stage will do. Their arms will come up and they'll instantly go from here, like they want to hug, okay? All right, from here, the issue you have, if you haven't practiced this move and you haven't practiced opening out those lats and just being able to naturally open them, the temptation is, when you do this, is here, okay? And they pull back, there's no width to their lats, because what they're tempted to do is they think arms up will instantly open their lats. It won't. Only you, opening those lats, are gonna do that. Now it's not bringing those shoulders forward to round off, it's opening up and tensing your lats. If you imagine the position that you're in for a lat pull down, okay, as you pull down, you pull to here, okay? That point is what you want with those arms rotated down. Okay, so imagine the feeling that you get with a lat pull down. Next time you do lat pull downs for the next few weeks.
Thanks, mate.
So when you do lat pull downs for the next few weeks, I want you to concentrate on how it feels.
Yeah.
How it feels. At what point are your lats the widest? At what point are they contracting the most? That feeling is what you want here. Okay, when you're practicing and when you're posing. Okay, back pose is always the hardest because you can't see it. You can't see it in the mirror. We do have a posing room out the back, which we'll probably use next time, so you can see the difference. Okay, today I want you to feel it. I want you to learn to feel where it should be. Okay? Any other questions?
Nah, good. Fucking block, mate.
Practice, practice, okay? That's all you can do. Keep doing more. And then we'll create a T-warp and transitions and stuff like that a lot later down the line. I want you to perfect each of these moves for you. Okay, as you both start cutting, like I said, you're going to notice more and more and you're going to go, oh, actually, if I turn ever so slightly, it's easier to squeeze. So we just want to get you used to the actual poses themselves. Cool?
Awesome, thanks for that, mate.
Sweet, no worries.
Thank you.